Hindi imposition, my friends from the DMK have been asking pointed questions. I would want to take a minute. I am a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and most importantly, Kanimoyi ji, I come from Karnataka, which, like you, is a non-Hindi speaking state, and I am as opposed to imposition of Hindi as possibly you are, and rather more sincerely, because I have seen the DMK being hypocritical about their opposition to Hindi imposition. While be that as it may, let me take a minute. Let me take a minute to explain.
Please, आप बैठिए.
Madam, in this country,
please complete करिए.
In 1968, the first national education policy was introduced. The first national education policy mandated a 3-language policy. And this 3-language policy from 1968, from the first national education policy.
Please माननीय सदस्य कंप्लीट करिए.
मैडम, आप मैं 2-3 मिनट में कंप्लीट कर रहा हूँ, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट विषय है.
एक मिनट में अपनी बात कंप्लीट
प्लीज. मैडम 1968 में फर्स्ट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट नेशनल education policy to the 2020 education policy, other than the Narendra Modi government's education policy, every education policy that introduced the 3-language formula said you must compulsorily learn Hindi and another Indian language. Sir, please listen to what I am saying. Other than our national, you should have asked this question to your Congress people. Why did they impose Hindi? We have introduced an education policy. One second, sir.
माननीय सदस्य मोहम्मद जावेद जी.
Speaker, madam, our learned member from the DMK seems to have inadequate data and understanding of NEP. The government under Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has made. It was always felt that governments after independence, with the exception of the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, which introduced the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which gave great primacy to improving the quality of our infrastructure in public schools, especially private in rural schools. With the exception of that, our education system was largely neglected. It did not have adequate finance. The syllabus, the curricula was very rigid. I would dare say it was out of date. It was not keeping up with the pace and need of times. It was not accessible, affordable to all sections of the people. As a result of that, the quality of human resource that the country produced over the last so many years is painfully low, is painfully inadequate for a country as large as ours. However, in the last 10 years, things have changed drastically. Especially the kind of budgetary allocations the Ministry of Education has received, the importance Ministry of Education has received under the Narendra Modi government is something spectacular. Madam Speaker, I would want to draw your attention to the difference in the quantum of funding that our education department has received. In 2013-14, the budget of the higher education department was only 26,750 crores for a country as large as ours. Today, 10 years since, the education ministry's budget has increased by 78% under Narendra Modi government, and it is 47,619 crores. India is the world's most populous young country. 650 million young people in India are in the age group of 18 to 35. What is the size of this 650 million? If you understand it in terms of the population of the United States, the population of young people in India in the age group of 18 to 35 is 2 times more than the total population of United States of America. That's the amount of young people that we have to empower, upskill, educate, and provide employment opportunities with. And especially at a time when the world is facing the challenge of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, automation, finding gainful employment to such a large number of young people in a democratic country. No country in the world has faced a challenge of this kind. In that sense, it's an unprecedented challenge. Keeping this global context and domestic context in mind, the Honorable Finance Minister has presented the 5 Prime Minister's Employment and Skilling Yojana, which is going to touch the lives and transform the lives of more than 4 crore young people in the next 5 years. This is historic in every sense of the word. Madam, in the last 10 years, thanks to the renewed support, infrastructure, and the political capital that was expended on the education department, the country has seen massive growth in the education infrastructure. I would want to highlight your attention and the August House attention just to a few data points on the quantum leap the country has made in the educational infrastructure that we have made available to our young people. Pre-2014, India had 723 universities. Today, India has 1,113 universities. 390 new universities was built in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, 7,262 new colleges were built. Pre-2014, we had 36,000 colleges in the country. We today have 43,000 colleges in the country. Higher education institutions, we had 49,000 in the country before 2014. Today we have 56,000 higher education institutions in the country, a 14% increase. The density of colleges, number of colleges to a lakh population has increased 20% in the last 10 years. In other words, education and the creation of education infrastructure has made education more affordable, more accessible to young people in this country. मैडम, आप जानते हैं इस देश में एजुकेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कम होने के वजह से मध्यम वर्ग की जनता, जिनको एक उनके जीवन स्तर से ऊपर उठकर जीवन में एक अच्छे लेवल पे आने के लिए एजुकेशन ही उनके पास एक मौका होता है, ऐसे मिडिल क्लास के लोग सांसद के पास एडमिशन के लिए जाते थे, एमएलए के पास जाते थे, उनका सिफारिश के लिए जाते थे। इसका मूलभूत कारण ये डिमांड एंड सप्लाई के बीच में जो फर्क था, ये सबसे बड़ा था। और इसके वजह से, क्योंकि डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा था, सप्लाई कम थे, इसके वजह से कैपिटेशन फीस, इसके वजह से मैनेजमेंट फीस, मैनेजमेंट कोटा, ये सब कमर्शियलाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन भी पूरे देश में था। पर आज एजुकेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बढ़ोतरी करने के वजह से ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो जो हम कहते हैं, मतलब पॉपुलेशन के हिसाब से जितने युवा कॉलेज में एडमिशन्स पाते हैं, उसमें बहुत फर्क हो चुका है। मैं आपके संज्ञान में ये लेकर आना चाहता हूं, इन द लास्ट 10 years in higher education there has been a 26% increase in the gross enrollment ratio from 3.42 crore to 4.33 crores। और इसमें मैडम आप ये जानकर खुशी लगेगा, बहुत अच्छे लगेगा हम सबको, फीमेल एनरोलमेंट जो है हायर एजुकेशन में, क्योंकि अपने महिला, अपने युवतियां जो कॉलेजेस में जा रहे हैं, उसमें 32% इंक्रीज पिछले 10 साल में हुआ है। और ये बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ नरेंद्र मोदी जी के जो संकल्प था, इस संकल्प के सबसे बड़ा एक इम्पैक्ट हम इसमें देख रहे हैं। और हम जानते हैं आज के ज़माने में साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, मैथमेटिक्स, इंजीनियरिंग, ये सबसे महत्वपूर्ण फील्ड्स होते हैं, बिकॉज द वर्ल्ड इज प्रोग्रेसिंग टुवर्ड्स अ टेक डिपेंडेंट वर्ल्ड। और स्टेम एजुकेशन में पिछले 10 साल में महिला और युवतियों का एनरोलमेंट 43% ज़्यादा हुआ है पिछले 7 साल में। ये नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार के सबसे बड़े विमेन एम्पावरमेंट के एक अचीवमेंट है। यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में 51% एनरोलमेंट हुआ है, इंक्रीज हुआ है। PhDs में 81% increase in enrollment of PhDs, which shows the qualitative increase, qualitative throughput of our higher education institutions. Northeast में भी यही हालत है. And I must bring the attention of this house to another very important aspect. ये जो ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो देश में बढ़ता जा रहा है, इसका सबसे बड़ा लाभार्थी इस देश के पिछड़े हैं, इस देश के SC हैं, इस देश के ST हैं और इस देश के महिला हैं. और माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, कल परसों से चर्चा बहुत सारे रिजर्वेशन के ऊपर हो रहा था और प्रतिपक्ष नेता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को और अपने सरकार को OBC विरोधी, SC विरोधी, ST विरोधी के रूप में एक पेंट करने के लिए, एक चित्रण करने का प्रयास वहां से हो रहा था. पर आज मैं आपके सामने फैक्ट्स के आधार पर और हिस्टोरिकल कुछ एक दो इंसिडेंट्स के आधार पर बताना चाहता हूं कि इस देश में अगर मंडल रिजर्वेशन का, मंडल रिकमेंडेशन का इंप्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हुआ होता और पिछले 10 साल में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में SC, ST, OBC युवाओं को विशेष रूप में एनकरेज करने के लिए प्रयास नहीं हुआ होता, आज के ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो में क्या फर्क होता था. अध्यक्ष जी, पिछले 10 साल में देश के युवा जो SC समाज से आते हैं, उनका हायर एजुकेशन में एनरोलमेंट 44% इंक्रीज हुआ है पिछले 10 साल. और SC समाज से जो महिला आते हैं, युवती आते हैं, उनका एनरोलमेंट 51% इंक्रीज हुआ है पिछले 10 साल. जनजाति समुदाय से जो आते हैं, ऐसे ST स्टूडेंट्स का एनरोलमेंट 65% इंक्रीज हुआ है 10 साल. जनजाति महिला युवतियों का एनरोलमेंट 82% हुआ है पिछले 10 साल. OBC युवाओं का एनरोलमेंट 45% ज्यादा हुआ है पिछले 10 साल. OBC महिला युवतियों का, महिलाओं का, स्टूडेंट्स का एनरोलमेंट 49% हो चुका है. यह नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार की प्रतिबद्धता है. ऑन द अदर हैंड, मैडम, when the Mandal Commission recommendations were tabled for more than 10 years, neither Indira Gandhi ji nor Rahul Gandhi ji moved an inch on implementing the Mandal Commission reforms. If there is any government and if there is any party that has been the most anti-OBC, most anti-SC, ST party, it is the Congress party and the Congress party's government. Madam, OBC के खिलाफ, SC, ST के खिलाफ इनका नफरत इतना था, ये एक इंटरव्यू में बाहर आता है. 3/3/1985 को माननीय राजीव गांधी जी ने नव भारत टाइम्स के एडिटर आलोक मेहता को एक इंटरव्यू देते हैं और इस इंटरव्यू में माननीय राजीव गांधी, तत्कालीन लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन, वो एक बयान देते हैं और ये बयान मैं पढ़ना चाहता हूं और इस अगस्त हाउस के रिकॉर्ड में मैं ले आना चाहता हूं. राजीव गांधी जी कहते हैं, आरक्षण के नाम पर बुद्धुओं को बढ़ावा नहीं दे सकते हैं. जो आरक्षण के अधिकार वर्ग है, उनको राजीव गांधी जी ने बुद्धू कहे थे. दिस इज द क्वालिटी, दिस इज द इंटेंशन, दिस इज द थिंकिंग ऑफ द कांग्रेस पार्टी टॉप लीडरशिप. और आज आप देखिए कर्मा कैसे वापस आता है. जिन वर्ग को बुद्धू कहा गए थे, उस पार्टी का नेता को जनता क्या कह रहे हैं, आप सोचिए. कर्मा कैसे वापस आता है. माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, we have also made tremendous progress in the quality of our education system thanks to the introduction of the national education policy. देश की एजुकेशन पॉलिसी लगभग 30 दशक से रिव्यू नहीं हुआ था. और एजुकेशन ऐसा फील्ड है मैडम, हर 3 साल, हर 5 साल में अपडेशन की ज़रूरत होते रहते हैं. If you do not update our curricula, if you do not update our syllabus, if you do not update the quality of education that we are providing to our children, there is a very high chance of them learning things which are not required. और इस देश के एजुकेशन सिस्टम का हालत ऐसे हो गया था, ये एजुकेशन सिस्टम को, एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को नहीं रिव्यू करने के वजह से आप में जो भी क्वालिटी है, टैलेंट है, आप या इंजीनियरिंग नहीं पढ़ेंगे, या आप मेडिकल नहीं पढ़ेंगे, या आप एक दो प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज नहीं पढ़ेंगे, तो आपको वैल्यू ही नहीं था. और इसलिए पूरे देश में एक प्रकार से रैट रेस शुरू हुआ. सब आईआईटी में जाना है, सबको इंजीनियरिंग ही करना है. और मैं तो बैंगलोर में आता हूँ, बैंगलोर से आता हूँ, और बैंगलोर में ऐसा है कि आप पहले लाइफ में इंजीनियरिंग करो, उसके बाद आप जो करना चाहते हो वो करो. This was the quality of our education system because we did not review our education system, our quality of our education provision to make it flexible, to make it up to date. And I would flatly blame all the previous governments 70 years which did not review the education system properly and make it more creative, innovative, making it more problem solving centric. And this was changed by the introduction of the National Education Policy 2020. Madam, 34 years के बाद, लगभग 30 दशक के बाद देश के एजुकेशन सिस्टम का एक आमूलाग्र परिवर्तन देश में लाने के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी एक नेशनल एजुकेशन सिस्टम का, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का, एक नया पॉलिसी का इंट्रोडक्शन 2020 में हुआ. इसमें 3-4 बड़े चेंजेस हैं. मैं आपके माध्यम से देश के युवाओं का ध्यान इस विषय पे आकर्षित करना चाहता हूँ. सबसे बड़ा जो चेंज हो चुका है वो अपने एजुकेशन चॉइस के फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी पे है. इससे पहले क्या होता था, इफ आई वॉज इंटरेस्टेड टू स्टडी से हिस्ट्री एंड ऑल्सो स्टडी अलॉन्ग विथ इट से फिजिक्स, I did not have the opportunity of choosing both a science subject and a subject with social sciences. If I wanted to study economics and at the same time if I also wanted to study say art, or if I wanted to say mathematics, I would not get the opportunity because there was an inherent rigidity that did not allow for these multidisciplinary courses to be taken. For the first time, the National Education Policy has now introduced a flexibility in our higher education where the student is now free to choose the subject that he wants to study. I think this was a long pending reform that crippled the creativity and the talent of our young people by crippling this choice, by not giving them this choice. I think this availability, making availability of the flexibility of choice for a student to choose the option that he wants, the subject that he wants, is a very, very welcome reform that the NEP has brought. Madam, the second big reform that NEP has brought is with respect to changing the focus of our education system from what was essentially a Eurocentric, Euro-created, colonized education system to an India-centric education model. And two big aspects demonstrate the change that has taken place in this sector. One, the focus on mother tongue based education system. All over the world, Manya Adhyaksh ji, it has been proven through various education systems, education surveys, that the most effective medium of teaching, especially in the formative years of 2 to 8 years old for children, is in the mother tongue. And those children who learn non-trivial educational concepts in the mother tongue, their retention capacity, their understanding capacity, their comprehensive capacity is far higher than compared to students who would have learnt a particular concept in a non-mother tongue language. But for a long time, this colonized obsession of English medium education, I am not taking away the importance of learning the English language, but the obsession of English medium education, even at the primary stage, was a very big challenge for our young people, especially the children from rural areas, to understand the fundamentals of any subject. For the first time, the education policy has made it mandatory for primary education to be in the mother tongue in the country, thereby strengthening the regional languages of this country and also the mother tongue languages of this country. It is also, I'm coming to Hindi imposition, sir. I'm coming to Hindi imposition. I also come from Karnataka, which is a non-Hindi speaking state. Please give me 2 minutes. I'll come there. माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, ये एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के एनईपी के जो विजन स्टेटमेंट है, इस विजन स्टेटमेंट के बिगिनिंग में एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लाइन लिखाया जाता है, दैट वी आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स अ इंडिया सेंट्रिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम. मैं कई बार सोचा कि ये इंडिया सेंट्रिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम के क्या होता है, ये क्या होता है, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस इंडिया सेंट्रिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम. और मुझे पता चला, मैं जब सोच रहा था और एक अनुभव के आधार पर, दैट फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम आवर एजुकेशन सिस्टम, वो ब्रिटिश जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम रचा के गए थे, कॉलोनाइज एजुकेशन सिस्टम थे, उसके हिसाब से उसके रास्ते पे हम चल रहे थे. मैं 8 साल 10 साल पहले कर्नाटका के एक गांव में एक कार्यक्रम के लिए गया था और एक सामान्य किसान के घर पे मैं गया. फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ आवर फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम तमिलनाडु, आई वुड वांट टू स्टेट दिस इन इंग्लिश. I had visited the house of a farmer in one remote part of Karnataka about 8-10 years ago. In the evening, we were sitting and chatting with the farmer. The young child from school, the farmer's kid, comes back from school with the uniform, a convent school, removes his bag and everything, changes into home clothes, comes and immediately starts studying and making his homework. It was like a very good boy who goes to school, comes back and immediately starts working on the homework. But the farmer father seemed very agitated. He said, "Aap andar jao, get inside, don't sit in front of me." I asked the farmer, "Your son seems to be a very adarsh balak. He goes to school, came back, immediately started doing homework. But why are you so angry? Why are you shooing him away?" The farmer father said, "From the last 4 years, we have not had rainfalls in our state, in our village. But every evening, my kid who goes to this English medium school comes home and starts saying, 'Johnny, Johnny, rain, rain, go away, little Johnny wants to play. Rain, rain, go away, little Johnny wants to play.'" What he meant to say was, the rhymes that were taught in our schools, in the English medium schools, neither had any context or relevance to the immediate local culture and our understanding. This is not to say that we must not learn the English language. We must learn every language in the highest quality possible. But unless education is made available in the primary standard in our mother tongue, we will not be able to communicate and transmit the culture of this soil. So if there is one government in the last 70 years that has given importance to mother tongue education and made available through the national education policy provision for medium of instruction to be in the mother tongue, it is the Narendra Modi government, and no government before has done this. Madam, on the point of Hindi imposition, my friends from the DMK have been asking pointed questions. I would want to take a minute. I am a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and most importantly, Kanimoyi ji, I come from Karnataka, which like you is a non-Hindi speaking state, and I am as opposed to imposition of Hindi as possibly you are, and rather more sincerely, because I have seen the DMK being hypocritical about their opposition to Hindi imposition. While be that as it may, let me take a minute. Let me take a minute to explain.
बात कंप्लीट करिए प्लीज. आप बैठिए.
Madam,
in this country, माननीय सदस्य प्लीज कंप्लीट करिए.
In 1968, the first national education policy was introduced. The first national education policy mandated a 3-language policy. And this 3-language policy from 1968 from the first national education policy.
प्लीज माननीय सदस्य कंप्लीट करिए
मैडम आप मैं 2-3 मिनट में कंप्लीट कर रहा हूं, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट विषय है.
एक मिनट में अपनी बात कंप्लीट
प्लीज. मैडम 1968 में फर्स्ट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट नेशनल पॉलिसी एजुकेशन पॉलिसी टू द 2020 एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, other than the Narendra Modi government's education policy, every education policy that introduced a 3-language formula said you must compulsorily learn Hindi and another Indian language. Sir, please listen to what I am saying. Other than our national, you should have asked this question to your Congress people. Why did they impose Hindi? We have introduced an education policy. One second, sir.
माननीय सदस्य मोहम्मद जावेद जी.
Speaker, madam, our learned member from the DMK seems to have inadequate data and understanding of NEP.
I don't have
the
the
National Education Policy 2020 for the first time has introduced an education policy that provides the choice for a student to learn any two Indian languages, and not necessarily just Hindi. So what happened the last 65 years was imposition of Hindi on the southern states and non-Hindi speaking states by the Congress party and the parties that you.
आपने मुझे बोलने का मौका दिया. मैं इस मौके पे अपने पार्टी लीडरशिप को और किशनगंज